we're kind of back into that same dichotomy we had last year where the market cap weighted sectors of the markets really kind of driving the overall markets. The equal weighted index, which has less of the Mag 7 in it, really kind of dragging relative to the overall markets. Here's what you need to know before the bell this morning. We're going to take a trip around markets real quick because there's some real interesting kind of dichotomies between what's happening in markets and narratives. One of those, of course, is just simply that, yesterday that the market continues to do well. We broke out clearly to new highs over the last 2 days. That's great. Markets are going to be down this morning. We're going to be down about 16 points on the S&P this morning. Not surprising. Getting pretty overbought here in a short term. Not extremely, but decently overbought enough. We've had a really nice run here, particularly over the last couple of weeks. So again, a bit of a correction here, a little bit of consolidation would not be surprising at all. But interestingly enough, while the S&P is breaking out to all-time highs, the NASDAQ is just challenging all-time highs. So again, haven't really made that breakout. Again, money flows are fine. NASDAQ's a bit overbought here. NASDAQ will also be down this morning in sympathy with the S&P. Again, it's not anything really driving the markets this morning, just really just kind of exhausted. A little bit of a pullback was needed here. But again, the NASDAQ has not broken out to all-time highs as of yet, like the S&P. If we take a look at the equal weight index, it also, of course, has been lagging the S&P itself. So again, we're kind of back into that same dichotomy we had last year where the market cap weighted sectors of the markets really kind of driving the overall markets. The equal weighted index, which has less of the Mag 7 in it, really kind of dragging relative to the overall markets, had a nice rally back in early 2020, early this year. When there was a lot of pressure on those Mag 7 stocks, we saw a pickup in some of those non-Mag 7 stocks. But again, since then, has not really done much of anything. And again, that performance gap is now about 10% between those two indexes. Same thing for the IWM, Russell 2000. This is also going to feed over just small caps, mid caps in general. Really have not done a lot. Big gap in performance now between the Russell 2000 and large cap stocks. And again, kind of the same thing in small cap itself. And you can hardly tell the difference between these indexes. But again, there's not been a lot of performance pickup in small and mid cap stocks relative to large cap stocks. So much like we saw last year, it's been a flow of money into kind of really the passive index funds, which now make up about 60% of the overall market between active and passive funds. Passive funds make up about 60% of that market. That's really just fueling those passive indexes, market cap weighted generally, just kind of funding those top 10 stocks, and that's creating this performance gap that we're seeing within markets. Been a lot of talk here over the last couple of weeks about international stocks have had a huge surge since the beginning of the year, and it's true, you can see this kind of big run. But again, while markets like the S&P and NASDAQ close to breaking out or have broken out to all-time highs, international stocks still way off their previous highs, just going back to October of last year. So yes, they've had a nice recovery, but all you're doing is really recovering a lot of that sell-off that you had right at the end of last year. So again, we see this kind of at the beginning of every year. It's this kind of chase to get into these, it's like, this is the year that international is going to do great. This is the year that small cap is going to do great. You got to buy small cap. You got to buy international. This is the year. And every year, it just hasn't come out to be the case. Maybe this will be the year. I'm not saying it can't be. It just hasn't been for like the last 14 years. So, we just kind of continue to see this languishing performance. Same thing on emerging markets. Yes, they've had a very nice rally since the beginning of the year, but again, nowhere even near close to getting back to where they were back in October. So again, just, be careful. The point is that, be careful with narratives, and look, there's opportunities. This has been good trades in international and emerging markets here since the beginning of the year. It's been a really good little trade here. The question is sustainability. Do the fundamentals, do the economics, do those type of things continue to support outperformance of those markets relative to where capital is flowing in the short term, which is, and really in the intermediate term, which has been kind of these large cap indexes. Is this year it changes? Maybe. But again, as of now, we're not seeing that performance shift just yet. That's what you need to know before the bell this morning.